When it was decided to move the Matacana Zoo or to give it that change, it turned to be no longer a zoo. There was an issue that was the most important, was to talk about animal welfare, that each individual, not talking about species but each individual. We had to care a lot and we had to work on those 5 domains of animal welfare, which would ensure that welfare, a welfare associated with mental health, physical health, nutritional, environment, and that this should be fundamental, and that is why, in addition to all the natural environments that are recreated in the Ukumari Biopark, because we went from having 7 hectares to having 44 hectares, and here with a whole team of professionals, each habitat is designed thinking in that environment that has to have trees, shade, water, shelter. And what we have clear is that the idea is that the animal can hide, and if people have to stay a long time waiting to see it, they do it, because here the protagonists are the animals. My name is Cesar Gomez. I am a biologist. I have a master's degree in wildlife management that I am about to complete. I came to Matacana Zoo at a very young age. I started almost since I was 14 years old being a zoo guide, then I started my social service. I went to study my career in biology, and I was in several moments of the park. I had the opportunity to participate in the movement of the old Matacana Zoo to Ukumari Biopark.
Vamos. Tito.
I went to Mexico for 3 years to specialize and work in an important zoo in that country. And now I am back.
Vamos. Ven.
The issue of training is very important.
Ven, gordo. Tito. Vamos.
Because animal welfare has changed in recent years. I'm going to focus it so that it loses tension. About 10 years ago, we thought that welfare was giving food, water, shelter and medical care to an animal. But advances in welfare sciences have shown us that even an animal that has these things may not be well, because it may lack the social part. We may have an animal that does not feel well in a place for X or Y reason, and that means that only the care is not enough. What I have here now. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go.
Otra vez acá. Eso.
In 2015, the World Association of Zoos, the UASA, developed the standards of animal welfare, and these new standards tell us that we have to worry about the mental health of our animals and the behavioral part. That makes people with my profile are very important in zoos, because we care about that mental health. That an animal is well socially, that it develops natural behaviors, and above all, training becomes fundamental, because if we have to do a medical checkup, give an injection, take a blood sample, we must ensure that this experience is not negative. How do we do that? Through training. Come on, this is already in focus. Training has several phases. When we are going to work with an animal that has never been trained, the first step is to gain the animal's trust, and we interpret trust as a bank account, where we start with a wallet with zeros.
Bueno.
Remember that you can pull it a little bit. But then one day she came to the otter. I bring her a big fish and I put a little bit of money in that trust account. Then I show up and play with her. I bring her presents. I start to be a completely positive figure.
Voy.
Espérame, me preparo. Cuéntame a 3.
1, 2, 3.
Once we have that portfolio, with a very good income, that is to say that she already recognizes me as something positive and that good things always happen to her, we start with the design of the training plan. To tell you something, we are going to take blood from the otter, because we need to know how her health is with a blood sample. So how do we take blood? With a syringe, but we cannot go from confidence to the syringe and take the blood. But we start first with the little finger touched in the place where we are going to take it, and from there gradually the finger becomes certain elements of characteristic thickness until we reach the final needle that is going to take it. We use tools to train them. For example, this is a clicker, which is an element with which I communicate with the animal. The clicker tells the animal what I am asking it is. Okay, for example, if I touch his tail and he allows it, I touch the clicker and then he gets a delicious piece of trout. From clicker to clicker, the process goes from trust to blood taking. It is very long and requires a lot of patience. We cannot make a mistake because the animal does not charge it. If I do something he does not like, if I take too long to give him the trout, that is why we need to train ourselves and practice a lot so that the communication with our animals is perfect.
Muchacha.
Effectively, the training changes a lot from individual to individual, from species to species, and this is determined by the history of the animals. For example, Ukumari Biopark is a place of shelter for many animals that have gone through negative experiences due to illegal trafficking. The environmental authorities give us animals that were seized, and those animals usually take longer, because they have had very bad experiences with humans. When they arrive at our biopark, they still feel that. Those of us who are here can be negative. It costs us more to establish trust and we will take longer. On the contrary, if it is an animal that has had good experiences and was born in the park, they are animals that train much faster, but in general we can overcome all the barriers of fear, thanks to positive conditioning.
Esto de ese lado, Juan. O sea, yo le sostengo cuando la mueva.
In the Bioparque Ukumari, we have 2 rhinoceroses, 2 females.
Vamos a empezar a reforzar.
They arrived more or less in '93 from the Biopark Hacienda Napoles. Today, here in the facilities of the Bioparque Ukumari, we have a large area, which exceeds more than 8,000 square meters, only this place without counting the dormitory. Here what we are seeing is that while she is being reinforced in this reinforcement station, it allows the other members of the team to do the cleaning and the contacts of the lateral area. These animals like 2 things: the food, that is one of the reinforcers, and the other thing, the caresses, that is a secondary type reinforcer. She is enjoying 2 of 2 actions while we are working. Food and the caresses. We always work with these animals more than 1 person. Never only 1 person works for security reasons. Always work 2, 3, or in this case that is the complete team that we are for. These animals, the white rhinos as well as the African elephants, are cared for by an elite group of the Ukumari Biopark. We are part of the eco team. they are 3 senior caretakers who are highly trained in safety and animal welfare, and I, who am their leader, Cesar Gomez. The ECO team has 2 important purposes. The first, high-quality practices for the care of animal welfare, and the second, safe practices. Working with rhinos and elephants is a high-risk job, but all our practices are focused on the animals are well, since none of us, or our animals, are at risk in any handling. My name is Juan Patino. I am caretaker of the biopark. I am a member of the eco team. They are Cha-Cha 1 and Cha-Cha 2, who arrived in '93 to the old zoo Matacana. From the extinction of domain of the Hacienda Napoles, they arrived there to the zoo and remained several years there under human care, until the creation of the biopark Ukumari, when in 2016, due to all the transfers of Noah's Ark operation, they arrived at the biopark. They became part of the collection. In fact, biopark and we became part of the eco team. The 3 keepers in charge of rhinos and elephants, just taking care of the animal welfare and feeding of these magnificent specimens. This species mainly lives in African grasslands and savannas, mainly in pairs. Although males can last a long time alone, in search of their reproduction plan. They are very imposing animals, because of their size, their weight and their anatomy like robust armor. They impose a lot of power.
Juan, voy. Voy con la 1. Listo, salgan. Salen.
Cha-Cha 1 and Cha-Cha 2 are very docile animals, very calm, especially because of the work we have done in the eco team with their operant conditioning. Their temperament has been very drastically changed. Rhinos are in danger of extinction, mainly because of the destruction of their habitat, in search of their horn, for false beliefs, to produce different medicinal products, aphrodisiac products, which are totally false. If the Ukumari Biopark plays a very important role in education, if educate all people who visit us, mainly children, who are our future, instilling that conservation. We are going to review the procedure. We are going to start with Piranolo. We are then going to work. We are going to do foot care. We are going to do body palpations. The usual 4 touches, and additional we are going to do after foot care. We are going to do a painting impression. Everything about elephants is full of emotion and mysticism. From their biology to all the stories that our ancestors developed around these beautiful animals. We already have all the reinforcers and focusers ready, so we do something. You go to the reinforcement. You two go to the coordination of the animal, and I serve as backup. I am evaluating all the security. Emergency whistles. Deterrence, everything in order, make sure you don't drop anything. Let's get started. In Ukumari Biopark, we have under our care 3 elephants, Piranolo, and 2 females, Maggie and Kim, all of them around 40 years old. Our elephants, all 3, have gone through very difficult stories. As we know, Piranolo comes from the old Napoles farm. He came to our care in '93. Kim and Maggie are elephants that were rescued from circuses, where obviously they were not treated in the best way. especially because they were exposed to training based on positive punishment.
Stop. Todo, Juan, ¿dejamos?
Ajá, detén.
Sí. 20. Lado.
It was not easy to change the behavior of these elephants, but we have gained their trust, thanks to the work of the Eco team, which is the one you have seen in action. First of all, we gained the trust of the elephants. Gaining the trust of a male herd leader like Pranolo was not easy. It took us a long time, but today he accepts us and allows us to do all these things for his care.
Eso, bien. Lávale esa, lávale esa. Y después le pedimos el pan.
For Ukumari Biopark and specifically for the management, it was very important that these animals were handled with the best safety standards, but also with high quality in terms of welfare. There is no way that a park can have this type of animals well if it is not done through training by trained personnel in operational safety and animal welfare. The trainings basically consist of being able to perform maneuvers to take care of their paws and mouth. They can present many diseases around their limbs and oral cavity. Most of our trainings are focused on taking care of them in a preventive way. We clean their paws, file them, remove overgrown cuticles. We evaluate their paws every day. We make them open their mouth. We can feel their teeth. What we are doing is that these openings that are called lagunitas, due to the growth of the pad, close, and when they close they can close with sand and with a material that can cause an infection. We must keep them open like this. Here what we are doing is not allowing the lagunita to close so that the animal does not get sick. Elephants are very sensitive to diseases, especially in the legs, and this is what we are doing is a preventive care. That the four of us do it, the whole team does it. It is perfect, that is very good. From then on, many other activities, blood sampling of auricular veins, ultrasound scans, and things that have nothing to do with health, for example, such as printing pictures on canvas, which we use mainly for environmental education. Now what we are going to do is that we are going to raise a paint print prepare the frame sea bass. These prints have two purposes. The first is that they help us to see the footprint, and we can know if there are places that are having more pressure than others. It gives us an idea of where we should work, and the other purpose are very nice and people really like to see these prints. In fact, we auction them in the park. I feel very happy because we can answer for ourselves that the process we are carrying out is working, that we can guarantee the health of our specimens, which are especially under our care. Here we have an imprint. We see open gaps. We see closed parts. Closed parts would look completely black. So this is a healthy imprint. There are some cards that we fill out every time the training works. Every time we obtain positive results. To see these cards how we are ascending in the behaviors is very gratifying for us. when initially we start with few behaviors.
Dos, tres.
Then we add more behaviors, and at the end of the month or of the conditioning plan we make, we find that we already have 10%. 9% of 10 behaviors that we include that we have already achieved with the animals. It is very gratifying for us. Unfortunately, there are many places where they continue to work with animals under punishment, and what many people do not know is that there are many ways to punish. It is not only hitting the animals, there are forms of punishment that are not so obvious but have the same effect. For example, if the animal has a behavior of aggressiveness, not allowing it to go out to its habitat, or that day suddenly not giving it a part of the diet, all that is punishment. Sometimes we think that punishment is simply hurting them, but no, this type of punishment is also harmful for the elephants. As I said, unfortunately there are many places that continue to do this type of thing. That is why our strategic objective as a biopark is to be an example, and to reach the ears of many institutions. To be an example so they can see how it is done, and if we can help, we can also help them to change the ways in which these types of animals are handled. Working with them is the best. It is the best because day by day they teach us a lot. We have to learn a lot from these animals that we have under our care and provide them with all the services. Care, they are really very important to me. I was missing being a caretaker of mega vertebrates. I already feel a little more fulfilled, because I achieved something that I was missing, that I did not want to leave this field, before being a caretaker of mega vertebrates, of rhinoceroses. Very gratifying, more than growing academically and professionally. I think we all grow ethically, and as people, we have all made a very impressive personal change due to the handling and care of these animals, which are super intelligent, and it is very rewarding to work with them. It is completely satisfying to complete a training plan, especially for animals that were never thought to be trained. The case of our elephants is our great pride in training, because this year we managed to have blood samples from our elephants, when in all their history since they arrived in '93, we had not managed to have a sample, not only blood samples, also ultrasounds, total care. Today our elephants are very well cared for, thanks to training, and it is a pride of my own and a pride of my colleagues.